We don't continue to talk about this. We're going to bring in Ashley Banfield, our friend and the anchor of CNN's Legal View. Also here, Pate, Georgia criminal defense attorney. Paige, I want to start with you. Nick was talking about those warrants that we got our first look at today. To me, the thing that jumped out really more than anything else, the light bulbs. You know, light bulbs may not seem like an important thing, but I think it shows you what the investigators are up to here. They're questioning every little piece of the father's story, and in some ways the very foundation of that story, that nothing was wrong, you know, that he was simply going out to buy light bulbs. He tossed them in the car casually. They want to know if he even needed light bulbs.
That's right. I think police have been incredibly aggressive about the way they're pursuing this case, and I think the reason is because the district attorney wants to have solid evidence of intent. I don't think that this district attorney is comfortable charging Mr. Harris with murder unless he can use as a basis for that murder charge a first-degree child cruelty charge. And I think we heard this at the probable cause hearing. They have a lot of evidence to suggest intent, but I think they're going to keep looking, keep working the case until they've got that locked down.
You agree with Paige, Ashley? What's coming next? What do you think are next steps here?
Yeah, well, they even said in the hearing last week that we've only just scratched the surface, which means they've got a lot of computer forensics that they have to get through. They probably want to get through all of the devices that Leanna Harris has as well. I wouldn't be surprised, and Paige, you can probably weigh in on this as well, but I wouldn't be surprised if they are going to do everything they can to squeeze the wife. Whether or not they have something from her, get her to give up anything.
Divide and conquer.
Divide and conquer. And I have to say this, it's the way the system works. When you threaten someone with something like felony murder, which carries a death penalty in the state of Georgia, that is terrifying. It is absolutely terrifying. And oftentimes it works very well for people to do these things. It was him, I didn't do it, I can cut a deal or not be charged at all. But ultimately, you know, I think we're only seeing the beginning of the charges as well. I think felony murder will be one. I think he's probably going to face this exploitation issue with this minor.
He was sending texts to sex, I should say, sexting a minor.
16 years old, I believe, at the time. And you know what? We still don't know what else they have, and I think it's going to be a while before we do find out.
Real quickly, they're originally from Alabama. They moved to Georgia.
Yeah, that's my knowledge.
So that's interesting because, again...
What if she goes home?
What if she goes home?
So we have a pretty good system here in the state of this union. We have what's called extradition. Yeah. Sometimes people fight it. Doesn't always do you well to do so. I've never really... Paige, you tell me. I've never really seen the gain of fighting extradition, certainly state to state. It's usually something that's waived and it happens. What do you think?
Well, the only time we would contest extradition if there's really an issue about, is this the right person? If there's a question of identity. In those cases, we will contest extradition. But you're right. Normally, we're going to waive it because it gets the person back into the jurisdiction where they need to be in, and it gets the court process working and started.
Hey, Paige, talk to me about Leanna Harris here, the mother. What do you think investigators are up to here? We've heard so much about her verbal reactions to a couple key emotional moments here. When she first found out at daycare that her son never arrived, her first reaction was, oh, my husband must have left the child in a car. That struck many people as odd. And then again at the police station when she found out her husband was in custody.
Did you tell them too much?
Exactly. She asked him, did you tell him too much? Those statements seem odd. Are they dangerous, though, for her in terms of possible charges?
They're dangerous, but in my opinion, it's not enough. You know, strange reactions, strange statements. Number one, as you guys have pointed out before, how do we know how someone is going to react when they've just lost their child? I mean, that's something that I don't think a law enforcement officer can testify to unless he's been through that experience. And even then, different people feel grief differently. But I think they're going to focus on her, and the way I think they're going to try to build a case is to focus on this electronic evidence. Are there any communications between her and her husband that would suggest, number one, she had some idea that this was going to happen, or two, text messages, maybe a discussion of the life insurance policies, something to show that she knows what's going on. I don't think they're going to charge her until they have that kind of evidence.
One thing that's sure, a lot of this is being played out in the public as we see the releases, the dribs and drabs. Ashley Banfield, thank you so much. Paige Pate, great to have you with us again. You can watch Legal View with Ms. Banfield here, right here on CNN at noon Eastern. Don't miss it.
See you then.
All right, ahead of this hour, from taking us